there's a lot of fields that you can specialize in just by going into a graduate program.
And the field that Austin and I specialize in is psychology. Specifically, we study driver safety. Why do you think that driver safety might be important to study?
Could it be because motor vehicle collisions are a leading killer for adolescents?
That's right. And specifically, distracted driving is the #1 cause of motor vehicle collisions.
Oh, could you tell me a little bit more about these distractions?
So there are 3 main forms. And finally, we have cognitive distractions. So these are tasks that take your mind off of the road. So this can include daydreaming or even talking to a passenger in your car. So if you think you're a good multitasker, think again.
So here at the Trip Lab, we have a driving simulator. It is a state-of-the-art driving simulator, actually. And so it is a 2016 Honda Pilot. It operates just like any other vehicle, except we pop the wheels off them. We have the 180-degree field of view here. So in our actual environment, we have a lot of things coming in from our peripheral vision. So that's what these 2 screens are really for. They help provide you information coming from the periphery. And we also have surround sound system, which really allows you, as you drive, you can hear the vehicles driving by you, kind of like you would on any other road. One other cool aspect of our system here is it sits on top of a motion base, so it kind of teeter-totters. So when you press the brake, the car will kind of lean forward, kind of as if you're braking, and that really gives you the impression of motion. Now there's a lot of cool things we can use this simulator for. We can see really fine differences in like people's choice of speed, the lane position they choose on the road, how much distance they prefer between them and the vehicle ahead of them. I'm sure we've all had people who tailgate maybe a little too close to, your car. And we can kind of see that preferred headway in the car. Now, there's other cool systems about this as well. In fact, we have an eye tracking system, which my friend Grace here will show you a little bit about.
All right, so if you'll come with me, you'll see we have a few monitors in this room, but specifically we're going to be looking at this monitor right here. So we'll let Austin get situated. All right, as you can see, Austin's eyes are highlighted here on the screen. So whatever he looks at, we can see. For example, if a car pulls out and he looks sharply to the right to look at the car, we'll be able to see that. If he looks down at his lap at his phone, we'll also be able to see that as well. This is super important for our research as we like to track what our participants are looking at. So let's go back to the simulator.
We're going on a walk, y'all.
All right, Austin, let's put that car in drive.
All right.
Let's wait till I shut the door.
All right, can anybody tell me what the 3 main forms of distractions are? All right, let's start with a manual distraction. So as you can see, Austin is taking his hand off the wheel, which is super dangerous because he may not have control of the vehicle, which can lead him to run into other vehicles or run off the road. That sandwich sure does look delicious, but it's not worth it.
All right.
Next, I'm sure some of you guys have seen people reading while they're driving, but it's incredibly dangerous because it's taking his eyes off the road, which, as before, can lead him to swerve into another lane or even hit another vehicle. And finally, we have our cognitive distraction. So, Austin, let's do some math. Are you ready?
All right.
All right, what's 5 times 5?
25.
What's 5 times 5 times 10?
250.
What's 5 times 10 times 7?
Oh, I don't know that. It's like 300 or something. I don't know.
I know. Okay, so even though it looks like Austin is looking at the road and he has his hands on the wheel, his mind is pulled away from the driving task as he is completing these math problems, which is super dangerous. So there is one specific distraction that encompasses all of the different forms of distraction. Manual, it takes your hands off the wheel. Visual, it takes your eyes off the road. And cognitive, it takes your mind away from the driving task. Can anybody tell me what this distraction might be? Field, which can be incredibly dangerous.
Yep, that's right. So if there's a few takeaways to keep from this, is that, well, teens are more likely to be in a motor vehicle collision, and there are a lot of reasons why that might be. And the biggest contributor of that is really driver error. And what causes a lot of driver error is really engaging in a lot of distractions. So there's a lot of things that we can do to like really measure distraction, showing you today. So if anything we heard today is please don't text and drive.
If there's any takeaway, make sure you're safe on the road and don't text and drive. Does anybody have any questions for us?
What are some long-term benefits of this study?
Long-term benefits of what we do here is, well, really we're looking for in the long run of really reducing motor vehicle collisions. So motor vehicle collisions are, whether that's repairing just infrastructure or more than anything, it's going to be a big factor on health insurance. So if you think of it economically as well, we want people to contribute to society, and if they're injured or hurt or anything, they're going to take a lot of time off, and that can be really detrimental to society.
We also hope that our research will influence people to stop using distractions such as the ones we described earlier, so that we can save lives and prevent motor vehicle collisions in the future. Our goal is to have 0 motor vehicle collisions and 0 deaths on the road.
We've tried to put out a lot of public service announcements, and they're fairly effective. A lot of those are targeted towards teens, and so some efforts are being pointed towards more just the general public as well.
Because we know that middle-aged and older adults, they just drive distracted as well. So it's not just teens, but everyone does it. So we have a lot of public service announcements that have been put out, just kind of explaining to the public, kind of like, for example, the football field example. When you take your eyes off the road for even a few seconds, you can drive as far as an entire football field. That's really scary, and you could hit someone in that time.
So does your research, or does any research in this lab, does it look at like sleepy driving, like people who drive late at night or when they get off like third shift, things like that, and they're driving and they're exhausted and falling asleep at the wheel? Is that something that is researched here, do you know?
Yeah, so we actually, one of the lead researchers here in our lab, his primary field of focus is on drowsy driving. And he found a lot of really interesting research looking at people who have poor sleep schedules or just overly fatigued from maybe working too many hours, and just understanding how that fatigue impacts you. He really found that, you know, getting good quality sleep is really needed to drive safely.
And even caffeine doesn't help, because even if you're sleepy, caffeine just makes you make mistakes on the road quicker. It doesn't make you more alert. So.
Well, that's interesting to know.
Yeah, it is. So.
And then,
It says, say, a 25-year-old or a middle-aged person. So they're more susceptible to making mistakes on the road. And if you add a distraction, that just makes it that much worse and more likely for them to get in a motor vehicle collision. So that too. And their brains are not fully developed. They say your brain doesn't fully develop until you're in your 20s. So that's also a factor that plays into it.
okay.
Can you get a speeding ticket in this?
There are driving simulators that are programmed to actually like have a police or a siren come and get you when you go over the speed. In the simulations we tend to use in our system here, we don't really give speeding tickets.
No cops.
How can people get more information about the research that you do, and just more information on distracted driving in general? Do y'all have a website or email address or anything like that?
Yeah, so you can always visit our website. It's the Lab We list all the research projects that we do. We list some of the research projects that we have ongoing. Right now we have a project trying to recruit individuals who are 18 years old. We're looking for folks with a license or who don't have a license. So if you wanted to get involved in projects that we have here, you can always either act as a participant. We're always looking for people to even volunteer in the lab if you really want to get hands-on experience.
Okay. And we also have social media, so if you look up Trip Lab on Facebook or on Instagram, you should be able.
Okay, well, thank y'all so very much for doing this today. Okay, and folks, remember, we have our next Discoveries Behind the Scene in 2 weeks. Hope to see you there.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.